Hello, welcome to the Japan Night Reporter YouTube channel where I talk about everything to do with the band Japan. Now today I'm going to do part 2 of the looking through the books and things in the box. Bit more that's sort of YMO, Ippu-Do related, but everything here does include something to do with the band Japan. If I included everything that didn't include Japan, that would be a whole other video. So maybe there'll be a part 3, but we will see. So I've tried to put things in date order and I've picked out the most interesting things to show you. So here we go. So the earliest thing I've got here, this is from late 1980 and it is a special tour book that was put out by Yellow Magic Orchestra at the end of their tour, just the Japanese dates, all of which I think were at the Budokan in Tokyo. So it's December 1980. So what they did was they included all sorts of documentary features about the world tour that they'd just undertaken, where they'd visited different cities in Europe as well as the United States of America. So you've got a load of pictures obviously related to that. It's very, very detailed in terms of tech and things like that. But also really visual as well. All the photos by Masayoshi Tsukita, who followed them on the tour. So it starts off with the early part of the tour with rehearsals and things like that. Photos from Oxford, Hammersmith Odeon, got the front of there, Southampton, and then it goes on to Paris and what have you. But this is the 2 pages I just want to show you initially. So you've got here them backstage with different people. So you've got them here with Throbbing Gristle and members of the Boomtown Rats. That's in the top picture, Throbbing Gristle in the bottom there. And you've got with members of New Music. And not sure who else. Oh, I do recognise a couple of people here though. I hope you can see that. So there you go. It's quite a nice alternate shot of their meeting with Japan backstage, October 1980 at Hammersmith Odeon. And then you've got them there with Zane Griff and Ellen Foley as well. So don't think there's much more Japan content in this, but I've got another book that's related to that later. Quite a lot of cool artwork based on the image of YMO. They have quite a lot of images of cats in here as well. Oh, here we go. This is quite a cool double-page spread. So here they are with some of the New Romantic crowd from London. They had a bunch of photos taken at the club called Hell, where they had quite a late night out. And here you go. There you go. There they are with Rusty Egan and Steve Strange, of course. Looks like Yukihiro's getting his ear talked off by Rusty. Rusty's never changed, always likes to talk. Yeah, as I say, a lot of sort of artistic imagery of them. Cats representing YMO. And I'll have to get the whole thing translated at some point, but that's a really cool thing. So then the next one, this is related to it. So this is a YMO book called Omiyage that was published in 1982. No, I'm wrong. It was 1981. It was following that tour. And so what they did was they put out this larger format book to cover the whole world tour in a bit more detail, plus looking a bit into their personal lives and what have you. So this is not in the best condition, but it's a really hard to find book. So as you can see here, it's got like a plastic cover, and if you open it out, it's got the photo of YMO with the red background on the back with the eyes shut. So again, it goes through quite a lot of similar material from that sort of 1980-81 period. Includes quite a lot of their own content. So there's a picture of Arichi covered in a bunch of postcards, and in amongst the postcards there's a couple of little indications of things he was interested in. You've also got pictures of Yukihiro at home, Yukihiro fishing, Yukihiro at his shop called Bricks, where he sold his threads. A lot more sort of backstage shots from the world tour, things like that. I'm just going to find some Japan, but it's really glossy, large format. It's like a sort of not a coffee table book because it's quite soft back, but it's a bit more than a magazine. And yeah, it's again, it's a lot of photos by Tsukita, who obviously took thousands of shots of them. And yeah, they made the most of the tour by going out and about and socialising. Trying to find something here from London because I'm certain it exists, but we will get to it. Yeah, there's this is a really small one here. Don't know if you can see that picture there, but that's Benny and Frida from ABBA. And yeah, it's like lots and lots of tiny photos of them with different people are in this book. So it's a very much a sort of a personal photo essay as well. So you've got like that whole spread, that's Hosono's favourite things in his house. And I know for a fact David Sylvian appears very soon. So yeah, Ryuichi Sakamoto's private life section. This was his apartment at the time, early 81. Kind of sparse in a lot of ways, but with a very full record shelf. But then you've got his image collection of things that are important to him. You're going to spot a certain Mr. Sylvian in there amongst all of his other treasures. Like you focus on Lou Reed's Berlin, the B2 Unit album. It's fascinating insight into his mindset at that time. There's a lot of pictures of his collaborators, several pictures of Akiko, his favourite albums, including Radioactivity by Kraftwerk is one I recognise. He's got an album by DAF in there, Throbbing Gristle, 2 albums by Throbbing Gristle. You've also got Gentleman Tape Polaroids by Japan popping up as well. So it's kind of a cool insight into where he is. Yukihiro, that was his home at the time, his little doggy. He was really into his Art Deco furniture and things like that. It's interesting how different all of their homes are. Hosono's home looks more like a sort of a student room. Yukihiro really into sort of style, art and design, and doggies. Whereas I think on Ryuichi's page, I caught it further back there was a couple of pictures of cats. You also get a comic strip. And yeah, apart from that, there's a lot of newspaper style pages going through the history of the band. So hundreds of pages in this thing. But yeah, I'm told it's quite rare. So yeah, good luck looking for it. But if you can, it'd be awesome. So the next one, a bit smaller, and there isn't any Japan in here. But I just wanted to show you because it's kind of an unusual thing. This is a tour program from Akiko Yano, 1981. Not got that many pages in it, but it's all of the artwork is based around the Tadaima album, which is a lot of fun. So it's yeah, it is what it is. I quite enjoy it, though I keep it with the album because I think it's a really good companion piece. So she has like quotes from different fans, different famous people. I can't spot if there's anything at all by Japan because I don't think she really got to know Japan by this point. She just met them a few months before. There you go, and you've got her band there, including Masami and Ryuichi. So yeah, Kiko, I just love this. Keep this. So got another little tour program type thing next. So this was from the Yen label, but it's about Yukihiro Takashi's tour from '82, which Steve was a guest on. So this was from the Yen Records fan club, and this was, I believe, the first issue of the magazine. So what you've got inside here is some content with Steve, because it was announcing the tour. So you've got a picture of Steve there, and hopefully there'll be a bit more. Just got a news section, so obviously it includes about Sandy and the Sunsets, interior, yet another comic strip, and various different sort of fan doodles and photos and things. So that's kind of a tangent, kind of a thing that goes alongside Yukihiro's '82 tour. So now we're moving on to early 1983, and at that time Steve and Richard went on tour with Ippu-Do, and it was part of something called the File Tour. Something I got from that is this. It's one of these sort of Japanese tea towel type things which you could use to hold small objects or just put on display. So it's Ippu-Do, Masami and Akira Mitake, and this was on sale during the tour. I actually got this from Richard a few years ago, and this I didn't get from Richard, but this is a promotional album that was released for this File Tour in '83. So you've got different acts that were on this tour. So they had different acts headlining on different nights. So on one night it would be Ippu-Do headlining, on another night it would be the Mods, who were an act that Masami was involved in producing. Plus you had Pearl Harbor and Mikey Dread also on the lineup of the tour as well. So this has got various tracks from the artists on the tour, and it promotes the tour. So this one in particular, it's got African Nights by Ippu-Do, and it's got Hold On Me by Akira Mitake, which was of course produced by Richard Barbieri. So I kind of keep this and this together, and then I've got the actual tour program from the File Tour as well. So it's kind of like a reversible tour program. So this side is all about Ippu-Do and their band members, and then the other side is the Mods and their band members and support. So of course there's going to be pictures of Steve and Richard in here, but the main thing is you've got the introduction there with all the tour dates and Masami. You got pictures they had taken before the tour, and then here we go, got a nice double page spread, Steve and Richard, taken during the Sons of Pioneers tour. And then you have the other musicians with Ippu-Do, so that was Percy Jones, who's of course still working with Richard, and he's on Richard's new album Hauntings. And you've got David Van Tegem, who went on to work with Ryuichi Sakamoto on the Ongaku Tsukan album, and now you've got another lovely double page spread here with Masami playing live with Japan. So it's like, it's a nice cool sort of memory of the tour that he'd just been on with Japan. And you got a few more pictures of Japan in this program as well, which I don't think I've seen elsewhere, but that's, you know, highlighting that both Masami and Akira were working with Japan members. And there you've got Richard on keyboards down there as well. So good representation, I think. And then you've got publicity for Masami's book called Alone. That was the one that had some flexi discs with instrumental music included. The other half of the tour program is around the mods, Mikey Dread and Pearl Harbor. Incidentally, Pearl Harbor's still around. She doesn't look that different, to be honest with you. But yeah, she's still performing. She's based over in the States. Don't know much about her, don't know much about her music. Her actual name was Pearl Gates, but she's not the same person that sang backing vocals on the Art to Parties. I thought she might have been at one point, but no, she isn't. She just got, there's someone else with a similar name to her. So now I just wanted to show you a couple of other things that I've got that feature Japan. So just a few more, and a couple of tangents. So this is the movie program from Japan of Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence. So it's got the title in English on this side, title in Japanese on this side. So I believe this was used in Japan, but it was also taken over to the Cannes Film Festival as well. I actually found this in London. There was a specialist film memorabilia shop that used to exist in Soho. It was off Beak Street, I believe, and it had all kinds of things like this. I also got some stills from Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence as well in the 80s, so I've had this for quite a long time. It's glossy magazine. It's got all of the film credits in detail, as you'd expect from a film program. A lot of glossy pictures, a lot of Bowie. You've also got an essay by Sakamoto, which is about Bowie and about making the film. You've got an essay by Takeshi Kitano. There you are, Bowie with the director Nagase Oshima. I always wanted one of these shirts. I know that John Taylor from Duran Duran had a version of this shirt. I think it was white with black writing. I always was jealous of that shirt, so I'd still like to get one now. Maybe I'll get some made, something like that. But yeah, this is just full of information and pictures on the film Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence. So this is a kind of a treasured item, and I'm going to look at it all a bit later on, I think, while I listen to the soundtrack. So we're still in about 1983 here with books, so we've got a fair way to go. So YMO put out another book in early 1983. Well, this was kind of to celebrate the release of the Naughty Boys album, and it covers everything from the sort of early 1981 period in the last sort of glossy book up to middle of 1983. So, of course, Japan do appear a couple of times, and I've got some pages to show you. This book, again, they have quite a lot of detailed pages with a lot of tiny pictures in, which are fun to sort of browse through. But they've got some specifics. So this is the source of the picture of Steve Jansen wearing cables for hair. So this was actually taken in March 1982 during the recording of either Aiga Nakachane or Bambi Music. So looks like Sakamoto had this Polaroid and pops it in this book. So I know this has been going around Instagram and stuff for years, but that's the source of it in this book. Yeah, you can't see it too well, but that orangey Polaroid in the middle, that's actually Thomas Dolby with Akiko and Ryuichi, and that was when they were making the track Radio Silence. So that's kind of the only picture I've ever seen of that. You've got another picture of Thomas Dolby there down the bottom, but it's kind of something I forgot to ask Akiko about was the work with Thomas Dolby. So then you've got, it goes to the different band members and the pictures that they took. So you've got a nice picture here that Yukihiro took of Mick and Masami. So that's on Yukihiro's Polaroids page, that one. So that's pretty cool. You don't see that one too often, but I know it's been shared. So then you've got they do various bits of artwork, there's interviews with all of them, and there's what I consider to be blackmail material footage coming up soon, but we're not quite there yet. There's an article with Steve and Yukihiro chatting, which I think is pretty nice. And there we go, there's another shot of Steve and Yukihiro. So that's just underlining how important Steve was to Yukihiro at this time. But just trying to find the real gold now. Here we go. Now this is not a nice picture, but there you go. Told you. David and Yukihiro on a night out. What can I say? And then they've got Steve, Mick, I believe, and Richie in the studios. That's going to be early 82. Let me check if that is. Yeah, that is Mick sitting in the background. It looks a little bit hazy. But there you go. That's a picture. And you've got Yukihiro with Sparks. See if there's any more. There's lots of photos of them in the studio working on the different albums from that time. There's a big section on Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence. There's also another section on Yukihiro's tour, so you've got Steve popping up there in quite a few pictures. Let's see if there's any more. Yeah, you got some more there. Hope that's showing. Oops. The printing is quite flat on this actually, so apologies if you can't see in too much detail. But yeah, it covers in detail everything they've done for the last couple of years. So it's got things about Left-Handed Dream, Technodelic, BGM, Yukihiro making music videos. It's got what appears to be in-depth interviews with all of them. And then it covers their work up to date, sort of things like their advertising work as well. So there you go, the YMO book, Young Muzak Ozisan. So then a little bit later, YMO published another book called Sealed, and this was to commemorate when the band disbanded, or spread out as they prefer to call it, in late 83. So this came out in 84. There was also a box set of either cassettes or LPs out at the same time. And this is the sort of artistic approach to things. So they've got a lot of material from the last tour, but a lot of it's sort of manipulated with artwork and photography. It's got a different photographer, so it's Kenji Muro is the main photographer, and you've got art direction from Yukimasa Okamura, who did their last few albums and did a lot of work with the Yen label. So this is kind of taking things for the rest of the time that they were active after that previous book. So as the bulk of the work with Japan was prior to this, there isn't any Japan appearance in this book as far as I'm aware, but it's still a pretty cool one to pick up. I enjoy looking through this one. We're on to 1986 now for the next thing, and this is Sakamoto's tour program for the Media Barn tour in spring 1986. So there isn't any specific Japan in this, but what there is a tremendously detailed discography, which is probably very hard to see on camera. But basically it goes through every single format. It shows, you know, both sides of record labels. It is absolutely crazily detailed. And then this is not something that's going to look good on camera, but it's actually got a whole list of Sakamoto's production and session work up to 1986. So that's everything as a performer, player, arranger, everything that he's done in terms of books, spoken word, you name it, it's in here, as well as a lot of graphical work that was related to the album that was out at the time, which is called Yaru or Futurista. So yeah, no Japan, but it's definitely, if you're a Sakamoto fan, this is a really good one to seek out. You can normally find it on Yahoo Japan auctions, if you're lucky. Now something with a bit of Japan. So Yukihiro's 1986 tour program. I've also got the 1985 one. It's got a little bit of Steve in, but nothing as good as this, because this is the one that's got stuff about Stay Close in it. So if I come to the page now, you've got this massive sort of quadruple spread thing with pictures from Stay Close. So I'll just try and run that past the camera and hope you can see most of it. I'm obviously hidden behind this, which is probably something you'd be quite grateful for. But yeah, it's a real thing of beauty. It's really well printed. It's got a lot of stills from the video shoot and from the photo shoot for the single, which was out a few months before this tour. But of course, Steve was a really important musician with Yukihiro at this time. So you've got a big section in this tour plan on Steve himself. So a nice picture there. In the 1985 tour program, the main picture of Steve is from the World in a Small Room album session, so it's not that interesting. I'll dig it out at a future point. So as well as that, in here somewhere there is a comic strip with Steve in it, which of course I can't see right now. There he is. There's the comic strip. Where's Steve though? Here he is. Oops. He's just there. There you go. A comic representation of Steve. Not sure what he's saying or what he's doing. But there you go. So that was Yukihiro 1986 tour program. You also get Japan popping up in this one. This is Akiko Yano's tour program from 1987. The reason Japan pop up in it is because she's got like a chronology of her career. Because she was at that point, 1987, she'd been just about 10 or 11 years into her career. So she's got sections here on the different periods of her career, different things she did, such as playing live with YMO. And yeah, here we go, 1982, 1983. They're not there, but I know that they are there in other pictures. There's just Akiko with her shoes, which she loves. Lots about her cats as well. And let me just find the picture I saw of Mick. Yeah, this is quite a tiny one. But there you go. That's Akiko with Mick, Steve, and Ryuichi. And then that's a section of the book that she's talking about the making of the Aigo Nakacha Ne album. And you've got her full discography in there as well. So there you go. It's unquestionably Akiko Yano. That was on sale in 87. She also put out a book in 1996 as well, which is quite similar, along similar lines, but it basically has, again, a full career retrospective, but there's no pictures of Japan in that. Okay, so we're on the home stretch now. Just a couple more things I want to show you. Studio Voice is from 1992. It's a magazine, which is a general sort of electronic magazine, studio recording magazine. But what's cool about it is that it has a full exploration of Yellow Magic Orchestra's connections with different artists. So it's got multiple pages devoted to various different musical family trees, if you like. It's tremendously complex, and it's got a page for each of them, and it's got a page for the group as a whole. So you do have Japan, for example, and Japan pops up on the Sakamoto tree. You can see a couple of things there, and it's so much for Sakamoto that they have to separate it out into different years. So here you've got gentleman take Polaroids appearing, which is under the sort of 80 to 81 section. But yeah, it's crazy, this thing. Yeah, you've got their cultural influence and a different diagram. It's crazy. There's so much to go into this, so much to look at. Even if you don't understand Japanese, there's a lot to enjoy, a lot to see in this particular magazine. So this is quite often one that YMO fans want to get hold of. So then the final book that's specifically YMO but got some Japan in is this one. It's called Period, and that covers 1978 to 84 plus 1993, and it's a visual guide to YMO. So it covers all things like stage costumes, their video work, their tours, obviously, a lot of photography by Masayoshi Sukita they did along the way. Now, they've got obviously a lot about that world tour in 80. You've also got different shots. There you go. There they are with Japan. Again, another one backstage with Zane Griffin, Alan Foley. So it's a lot more of the same. This is very unusual one down here. So that picture down there, that's a very early shot with Ultravox. Now, that was taken in November 1979, so that is really, really early when Midge had joined Ultravox. So it's quite an unusual shot. I don't think that's published anywhere else. But for history nerds, that's kind of cool. So yeah, you've got this book is just the one to have if you're into YMO. It's got a full visual discography, including their international releases and things like promotional books, tour programs, advertising. It's even got bootlegs in here. It's the business. I've actually got 2 copies of this. One of them came with the CD single, and one of them was missing. So this one's actually got the CD single in there. So yeah, very happy to have that. It's got a track called M16, which was the final number on the YMO film propaganda, as well as it being on the SACD release, Ultimate YMO collection. So before I bore your socks off, just 2 more things, 2 more books I wanted to show you because they're really important ones. So this is the Ultimate Japan book. It's the only book so far actually written by a member of Japan. And this is Mick's autobiography, Japan and Self-Existence. This is still available from the publishers. So I'm going to include a link to it in the description below the video if you want to get hold of it. It's really not expensive at all. It's available from the UK, but they'll ship anywhere. There's also a Japanese version in Japanese that you can get separately. I don't know about the availability of it. But everything in here was done by Mick. All the pictures were chosen by Mick. It's totally his work. So there's a lot in here, but it is absolutely fascinating, and it includes a lot of rare pictures as well. I think 90% of these have been shared online already, but you know, it's like things like Mick and David, you know, teenage bedroom, a lot of detail there to pick out. I won't go on, I don't want to spoil it in case you haven't got it. I just say get the book, just get the book. It's absolutely incredible. So yeah, Japan and Self-Existence by Mick Karn, very much recommended. And yeah, get a copy if you haven't got it already. It's not going to break the bank. It's really affordable. So go and get it and enjoy listening to Mick Karn as well. Final book I want to show you, because it relates to the one I did the big thing on about before. This is a Music Life book of Japan articles. It's reprints of Japan articles. So this came out just a few years ago and it's still in print, still available to order from Amazon and places like that. So it's got, not all, but it's got the majority of Music Life articles reproduced. Unfortunately, not in altogether the best quality. You've got some colour pages, which are really nice, but the bulk of the text pages and a lot of the smaller pictures are just in black and white. And it's almost like they've been sort of, if you look at them here, like it's like they've been photocopied. But as an archive of the articles of the time, really important. And you've got a smattering of colour pages as well. So it's easier to pick this up now than it is to pick up the individual Music Life magazines. But the interesting thing about it is that a lot of the shots are quite different to what's just been published in the Shinko Music art book. Yeah, for example, here, shots from Kyoto in 81, they're all completely different to is in the other book. So this was published as a bit of a celebration of Music Life magazine. It's got some really cool stuff, such as the sculpture exhibitions and the article that was out around that time, art parties. It covers mixed sculptures in tremendous detail, as was in the original magazine, but it's easier to access this. Yeah, I showed this picture last week, I believe, as well. It's a very similar shot to this is in the Japan Photo Sessions book, but it's just a tremendously important picture to Steve in particular, I think. You've got a whole section on the history of Japan with a lot of smaller pictures. And this has now made me think. I've definitely got another box somewhere which has got more books in it, because I have the Music Life history magazine somewhere, as well as the 1979 tour programme, which I've not found anywhere. It's bugging me. So I've got to go hunting for further boxes, because I've definitely got one with more Japanese Japan magazines in. So I think there'll definitely be a part 3 of this. Let me know if you want to see anything in more detail, and what I'll do is I will either scan individual pages, share them on the Facebook group, or here in the community section. Anything you like, just let me know, because we've tapped into something now and it's not going to end that soon. So with that being said, I hope the camera behaved a bit better for people this time. I'm going to call it a day for now, and I will see you all again soon. So everybody take care.